Welcome to this lesson on how to divide a whole number by a fraction. And in the first example, 1 divided by a half. Another way of reading this is how many 1/2s are there in one whole? So if you have a whole orange, how many halves are there in that orange? So there are 2 halves. And so to work this out using steps, all you have to do is make sure this is a fraction. If it's not a fraction, in other words, if it's a whole number, you need to make it into a fraction. And the way you do that, again, any whole number is equal to itself over 1. So that just becomes 1 over 1. And then the rule with fractions is you change this into a times, and then you turn this one upside down, and that becomes 2 over 1. And then multiplying fractions as you normally do, tops together, bottoms together, 1 times 2 is 2. And on the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. How many 1's in 2? The answer is 2. And there's the answer 2 that I got from the diagram as well. Example 2, 1 divided by 1/3. How many thirds are there in one whole? Again, just by drawing a diagram. So that's roughly in thirds. And how many thirds in that one whole orange? There's 3. And the steps, again, put this over 1, 1 over 1, change that to times, and then turn the fraction upside down, and then multiply the top numbers together and the bottom numbers together. So 1 times 3 is 3. On the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. And then 3 divided by 1, or how many 1's in 3? The answer is 3. Example 4, 4 divided by 2/3. So once again, put the 4 over 1. 4 is equal to 4 divided by 1. Change that to times, and then turn the fraction upside down, and then multiplying top numbers together. 4 3s are 12. On the bottom, 1 times 2 is 2. How many 2's in 12? The answer is 6. And you can show by drawing a diagram that this is the case. So I'll start with 4 oranges, and I'll split them all into thirds like that, and then do little groups of 2/3. So here's 2/3, here's another 2/3, and another 2/3, and another 2/3, and another 2/3, and another 2/3. So you can see from this that there are actually 6 lots of 2/3. So there's 1 lot, 2 lots, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lots of 2/3 in those 4 whole oranges. So that, just looking at the diagram, that agrees with the answer that I calculated over here. So this is really the way you need to do it, by using steps. And in example 4, doing it the same way. So 3 divided by 2/7. 3 is equal to 3 over 1. Change that to a times and turn the 2/7 upside down to become 7 on 2. And then 3 7s are 21. And on the bottom, 1 times 2 is 2. How many 2's in 21? There are 10. And then there's 1 left over, which goes over this bottom number here. So 10 and 1/2. This is a little bit harder to show using a diagram. It could be done, and I'm not actually going to do it. Alright, so I decided to do a diagram for this and show that it can be done. So how many lots of 2/7 are there in 3 holes? So here's my 3 whole oranges. They've each been split into 7 parts, not exactly equal, and in groups of 2/7. So here's 2/7 here, and another 2/7 here, another 2/7 there, and then 1/7. So there's the 7 equal parts, and I've done that for these 2 oranges as well, and then counting the number of groups of 2/7 in those 3 oranges. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's the 10 lots of 2/7. And then if this is 2/7, then half of that 2/7 would be a piece this size. In other words, it would be 1/7, which is this one here. So you can see from the diagram that there are 10.5 lots of 2/7 in 3 holes. So it can be done with the diagram. However, most of the time in maths, with dividing fractions, you're not really going to be, you just need to know how to do the steps. That's the key thing. So hopefully these little diagrams give you an idea of what's actually happening when you're dividing a whole number by fractions, or by a fraction. So that's about it for this lesson. Have a go at the exercise and I'll see you in the next lesson.